Hello, in this video we're going to talk about scope. So in the previous video we talked about functions, how to write functions, how to send parameters or how to send arguments, how to receive them as parameters. Now we're going to talk about scope. What does scope mean? Scope means limit. Where do your variables exist and where do they not exist? So for example, in main you have variables name and age. Name and age exist in main. If you send them to a function through this parenthesis, then they go there. Otherwise, they don't exist in the other functions. For example, message, name and age do not exist in this function message. So if you write something like this, it will give you an error message because it doesn't know what name is. Name and age exist only in main. That's what this slide is trying to tell you. If you want message to have name and age, you must send it to them here. You're sending it here, but you need to receive it here inside the parenthesis. If you don't receive it, there's going to be a disconnect between this statement here and this statement here. So parameters need to be received as arguments get sent. Okay, name and age exists only in main. So that is called the scope, or where the variables exist and where they do not. So they exist within a function. Within another function, they exist only if you send it. Okay, so let's take a look at this program, which has a bunch of functions. Let's step through it using this Python tutor. And here is our program. Main is our function. There are a few statements in main. Num equals 10, and we print a bunch of things. Then we have some functions called foo, bar, and cooks. This is the name of the function. This has nothing to do with anything, right? Foo is the name of a function. Bar is the name of another function. And cooks is the name of another function. Okay, let's step through this code. First, right, we get here, main, then we go next. Main frame gets created, foo frame gets created, that's the next function. Every frame, see, notice all the functions are getting created. Bar frame gets created. The last function, cooks, gets created. Functions are created, now we are ready to start executing. Main gets called, we go to line 1. Main is called. We go to line 2, num equals 10. Num equals 10, do next, num gets set to 10. Then we print. In main, num is, what is it going to print? 10. In main, num is 10. Then we call the function foo. Control jumps to foo, the function. In the function, num is 30. Num is 30. Notice the function num is different from main num. The foo function num is different. The num in function foo is different from the num in function main. Then we go to next, print. In foo, num is, what do you think it's going to print? 30. Okay, did we return anything? No, control goes back to line 5. The num in main is still 10. Notice nothing has changed in main. Look on the right side here. Then we go next. Then we call bar. We jump to bar. Num is 100. In bar, not in main. We print in bar, num is 100. We go back. Did we return anything? No. We print in main, num is still 10. We didn't return anything. Cooks, we call cooks. We go there. We don't do anything to num, but we print it. What is num? It says, I don't know what num is. We didn't send it here, so it doesn't know what num is. So then it's not going to work. Okay, so let's copy this code like so, and let's put it in our replit. And let's see what we can do to fix this code, right? So how would we fix this? So fixed all the indentations. Now let's run this. It says num is not defined. Which num? The num in the function. So it doesn't like this. So obviously because the num is in main, there's a num here in foo, there's a num in bar, there's nothing in here. So if you want this num inside of this function, then you need to send it from main like that. So now if you run it, it is happy. The num in cooks though is a num coming from main. So that would be 10, whereas all the other nums are whatever is local to the functions. So those are important things to look at. Now, unless you return something, nothing is really going back. If you return num, then num will go back after the call of bar. But even there, if you're not receiving it anywhere, then num goes into a black hole. If you send something back, you must receive it. You will find that this is very important for you when you look at your ATM balance program. So try it.